we have another newsmaker for today.
DZRJ now brings you an interview with one of our newsmakers.
Joining us, of course, for the first time on Sunset Drive, we have on the line with us the Department of Education Assistant Secretary Jesus Mateo. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Tricia.
Yes, how are you today, sir?
I'm okay. We're busy with the opening of classes.
Oh, great. That's good to hear, sir. First of all, how would you assess now the preparations that our public school teachers have made, and your department is concerned, sir?
Well, yeah. If you compare it to the last year's school opening, this is much improved. No, we were able to handle some of the complaints of our teachers in the nature of transfer. We reissued our policy on no collection. That only means that for kinder and up to grade 4, there won't be any collection of fees or any contribution for that matter for the entire school year. No, but for beginning grades 5 to the second high school, there will be some contribution, but on all of voluntary basis, based on a mandated law. For example, the Boy Scout of the Philippines fee, the Girl Scout of the Philippines, the anti-TB drive, the Parent Teachers Association fees, and the student fees, student organization fees, I should say. But I'd like to emphasize that as far as the PTA contribution is concerned, we will only allow them as long as, one, they have to report the progress of their activities and account for the contribution in the past year. And then for the following year, they can do have some contribution from the parents on a voluntary basis, provided though that they have to report to the assembly and to the school itself where they're going to allocate those funds. Okay,
if you, as you were saying, sir, the Department of Education has been reissuing annually the memorandum of a reminder to principals and to school teachers regarding the collection of fees. But how come there still, a swarm of complaints regarding same issues on collection of fees, sir? But how have you actually address this concern of the parents, sir?
Well, we have a monitoring unit, and we've been filing some cases to those who violated the policy itself. It's now lodged with the Undersecretary for Legal Affairs.
So the teachers who are faced with the complaints like this would have to of course, be investigated. And what happens, sir? Are there penalties for this, sir?
There will be penalties in accordance with the civil service rules and regulations, including certain laws. No, so we are right now through the monitoring unit of the legal department. Of the department.
Do we have a statistics for this, sir, in terms of how the DEPED has settled the issues on, particularly on the collection of fees?
Well, at the moment, I don't have. No, as I said, it's being turned over to our legal department.
Okay, the first day of classes has begun today, and I understand that there are already also parents who have concerns on enrolling their children on a late basis. So how are you now addressing this concern also of the parents on late enrollees, sir?
Well, if you remember, in January, as early as January of this year, we already launched the early enrollment. The reason really is to ensure that we have already an idea of how many will go to the school so that we can plan ahead. But unfortunately, there are some parents who did not do that, so we still have to accommodate them by way of putting them in a list. But our priority right now are those students who enrolled early enough.
But what are the chances, sir, that they will also be accommodated and accepted, especially the children?
Oh, a big chance of accepting them. because that's really part of the mandate of the department.
But how long will the parents have to wait on this, sir, for their children to, to go back to school and, process the enrollment procedures?
Well, within the week's time, no. But first, they have to enroll their children now. Now is the time.
Okay, let's now move on to another controversial issue that of course the DEPED is facing right now on the K+12 program. There has been criticism, especially now. The Senate President really has issued a statement saying that he is opposing the K+12 program, and instead he would want to have the addressing the issues on teachers, the shortage on teachers, classrooms, etc.
What we're doing right now is to address both issues now. The first, the K-12 really is essential, particularly the K, because if you look at the brain research, the development of the child will 80% of the child's brain will be developed between 0 to about 6 years old. That's why we are really hell-bent in implementing the K, the kinder itself. With regards to the 12, the additional 2 more years, we will only be implementing the new curriculum for grade 6 and year 1 next school year.
Okay. There was a statement coming from organizations of teachers, coalitions of teachers, and they're saying that the DEPED has to hire first the 30,000 teachers to handle the more than 1.90 plus million kinder pupils to be able to handle the entire operation of course, attending to the education of the kids. So how is that for the DEPED, sir?
Well, we agree that we need to create more teacher items, but unfortunately there's no law that will back us up. That's why we are asking Congress to fast-track the universalization of kinder bill, because that will be our legal basis to create more kinder items. Yeah. In the meantime, we have this volunteer program, and we're working out with the local government units.
So, okay, it's a volunteer program, and teachers are hired through a contractual basis.
Yeah, it's an allowance will be given to them.
That is also another issue that was also raised by a group of teachers, also saying that why not regularize the more than 30,000 contractual teachers?
Well, the issue here right now is the legal basis. That's why we explained to them we are really pushing for the passage of that law on universalizing the kinder. Once we have that law, the Department of Budget and Management, the government itself, can create the teacher items that we need.
Okay, as a comparison to last year, sir, how has been the shortage in terms of classrooms been addressed already by the Department of Education?
Well,
has there been an improvement already, sir?
There is an improvement, and the reason being is that a lot of stakeholders right now are helping DEPED to address some of this critical resources problem.
Okay, last question, sir. Have you tried to visit elementary schools like the Payatas and the Batasan Hills National High School? There has been a lot of complaints, like the size of the class, that it has reached up to 90 students per class.
Yeah, well, since I'm the chair of the command center, I'm supposed to sit here in the command center, but the secretary and other officials of DEPED went around, and we indeed saw a report, received a report that in Payatas there's a big problem of class size and lack of facilities. Now, we are doing something about it in collaboration with local government units now. For example, in Payatas, we do understand that there's a problem of water and electricity in the other side, So we are going to coordinate with the Meralco and the MWSS about it.
All right. Last question, sir. One last, there was a statement, I think, issued by a coalition of teachers saying that one of the biggest challenges now that, among others, that the DepEd is facing is the 2.5 increase in public school enrollees. So, you know, you just couldn't imagine the population now for every classroom. So, how is that being addressed now by the Department of Education?
Well, our big problem right now is in relation to urban centers. No? That's where we have big class sizes. But in most rural schools, that is not a problem. So to deal with that class size problem, we are applying a number of intervention. One of which is the shifting.
Okay.
And then
shifting. How many shifts are we talking about here?
About 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
But the ideal is really two shifts each. No? So that you can decongest the
population.
Yeah, that's right. And then the other intervention is really to again encourage the local government units to hire additional teachers, because the budget that we have right now can only hire about 10 to 15,000 teachers.
But sir, how is the relationship of a Department of Education to the local government units? I understand that there are congressmen who also take part in giving away budget on building classrooms and, you know, helping the payment of teachers.
Yeah. Indeed, they are, some of our legislators are indeed helping the Department of Education address some of these problems of classroom, as well as some resources of our schools. No, on top of that, the local government units itself. In fact, we have completed a memorandum of agreement with the League of Municipalities, League of Provinces and Cities, so that they will participate in the cost-sharing scheme of the or counterparting scheme of the department, wherein 50% of the cost of the classrooms will be shouldered by the local government units, while the rest of the balance itself will be shouldered by the Department of Education. That means we are extending the limited resources that we have right now.
Okay. So as of today, with regard to your assessment, what has been the bulk of the complaints from the parents?
Well, mostly about the issue of students from private schools transferring to public schools.
Okay.
And then the second one is the contribution.
What about the problem on the transfer, sir?
What, the transfer?
Yes.
Well, it's like this. Prior to accept, we will accept all the transferees. No? Unfortunately, there are some instances where parents have still a pending arrears with the private school.
Okay.
So what we do is accept them temporarily, but we will have to talk with the private school to release some of the documents. But it doesn't really extinguish their accountability to the private.
But you know, what's really important is that they are still accepted, no?
Oh yes,
in the public schools.
That's right. Yeah.
On that note, sir, we would like to thank you again for for sharing us your insights on this pressing issue before the DepEd, and of course joining us in this program. We hope to have you again, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Tricia, and good night.
Thank you. So that was the Assistant Secretary of the Department of Education, Assistant Secretary Jesus Mateo.